Welcome back. So catching up on some news items from the last couple of days, and this is a big one that we'll talk about here this afternoon. NARC King of the West that runs out there in California, Oregon, and Washington is now going to be under new ownership starting in 2026. Brad Sweet, owner of Highland Racing, and Kevin Rudeen, owner of Skagit Speedway, will be taking over this series for the foreseeable future starting in 2026. And it has been operated before this year and up until this year by Jim Allen and Brent Kading since 2017. A lot of people know who Brent Kading is, absolute legend in sprint car racing. And BK, his name is on all the history books when it comes to NARC. Won a lot of big races in his career. Not many people know who Jim Allen is. He's the guy kind of making the thing go behind the scenes. And if you do watch NARC After Dark, you've probably seen Jim Allen. You may not have known his name, but he was the guy that did the victory lane interviews with the drivers. And he's the guy putting together the schedule, doing all the stuff it takes to get NARC, up and down the road and putting it all together during the off season. Jim Allen's still going to be involved. He's going to be the historian of the series. It's been around since 1960. There's a lot of races that are missing results and stuff that he's going to be trying to work on. And Brent Kading will still be a heat race sponsor. He'll still be bringing his parts trailer to the races as well. So those two guys are not going away. Some quotes coming in from an article on NARC410.com. The first one coming in from Jim Allen. Brent and I have been exploring potential succession plans for NARC over the past few years. Our primary criterion was to find a party deeply invested in our sport and committed to building on the club's history. We are confident that we have made the right decision with Brad Sweet and Kevin Rudeen. Their extensive experience and support of 410 sprint car racing are highly regarded. That's a quote from Jim Allen. And so I agree with him. I mean, Brad Sweet and Kevin Rudeen, there is no denying that those two guys are trying to bring 410s back to a prominent role on the West Coast, with Kevin Rudeen owning Skagit Speedway, putting up $200,000 to win races. One of them is under the NARC sanction. So it's not like Kevin Rudeen's banking on having the national touring guys there to have that race. He is doing it because he loves the sport and he's trying to give back to the West Coast scene as well. And I mean, Skagit Speedway has turned into a destination racetrack. It is a fantastic facility, has great racing. And we know that Brad Sweet is in the same boat. I mean, he took over Silver Dollar Speedway with Colby Copeland and Kyle Larson, new Musco lighting, new catch fence, new suite towers, and all kinds of other big improvements to the racetrack, bringing Gold Cup back to the big spotlight with $100,000 to win as well. And so these guys are invested heavily in trying to make this not only West Coast, sprint car racing better, but the entire ecosystem better as well. And that is hard to deny that is the case. A quote coming in from Brad Sweet. Kevin and I are both really excited to continue our pursuit of helping and growing 410 sprint car racing on the West Coast. There is no better way to accomplish this than to build on the foundation of what Jim Allen, Brent Kading, and many others have built over the years. NARC has been a staple on the West Coast for many years, and we hope to continue to create many more successful seasons for race fans, teams, promoters, and racers as well. So that is a quote from Brad Sweet, and the first one coming in from Jim Allen. Now, what do they need to do to fix NARC? In my opinion, NARC is really not in a terrible spot. There are a couple of races throughout the year where they don't get many cars. I think this year they had 17 at Calistoga and 17 at Santa Maria. So, I mean, there's a couple of events throughout the year where there are some struggles, but I think for the most part, NARC is actually not in a bad spot at all. And we'll talk more about that down here at the very bottom of the board. But some things that they could work on, definitely this year, they need to try and get more full-time teams to run the series. This year, they only have 3 drivers that have made every single race, and that is the lowest it's been in the last 5 years. And I think I have an idea as to maybe why that is the case. I'll talk about more of that in a moment. They need to raise the purses slightly. Now, they don't need to do some crazy thing and make every race 10 grand to win. No, that is not what they need to do. So far, there have been 24 races this season on the NARC schedule. 18 of them have paid at least $5,000 to win. In my opinion, all the races, they need to pay $5,000. When I was texting with Caleb Montgomery earlier on, he won a race at Santa Maria. He said he won either $3 grand or $3,500. I think that In 2025, if you're winning a 410 sprint car race, it needs to pay at least $5,000 to win. And according to the NARC website, it is $525 to start every single race. If they could bump that up to like $750, I think that would be good as well. And that could entice, guys that are not running the series full time to maybe jump back on and be involved with the series once again. And I think they need to get the schedule dialed in just a little bit more and find that sweet spot as to how many races, how many different racetracks, how much travel there is, because this year, this is the most races they have ever ran, or not ever, but the most races they've ran in the last 5 years on the NARC King of the West schedule. And I'll show you how much different it is compared to the last couple of years right here. So this is the last 5 years of data that we've gotten from SprintCarRatings.com and Bill Vancelo. Great guy, great website. Check it out. 2021 through 2023, there were 21 races total that the NARC sprint cars had throughout the year. 2024, it jumped up to 24 races. And this year, at the end of the season, as long as they don't rain anything out, they will have 28 races on the schedule, 7 more than 2 years ago. And is that too many? I'm not sure. I really like the NARC schedule right now. They go to a lot of the big racetracks, obviously in California. They have that really good fastest 5 days in motorsports up through Oregon. And they've got the Dirt Cup at Skagit with a high-paying race up there. The Oregon races have not had an incredible car count, but I think that goes back to not having very many full-time teams. The tracks, how many different racetracks have they ran? In 2021, they only ran 11 tracks. That's the least amount in the last 5 years. 2022, they ran 12. 2023, they ran 13 different tracks. And the last 2 years, they have ran 16 different racetracks on their 2020 or on their overall schedule throughout the year. And then the amount of different drivers that have ran at least one race with the series over the last 5 years. 2021 was the least amount with 85. 2022, I don't know what happened, but they had 113 different drivers that year that ran at least one NARC race. 2023 went back down to 92. 2024 up to 106. And this year, they are still in the middle of the season with 4 more races left, and they are at 94 different drivers that have ran at least one NARC sprint car race. I would expect that to get over 100. Will it get to 113? I am not exactly sure, but 94 as of right now in the middle, or I guess towards the end of the season for the NARC sprint cars. The average car count, that is a big one here on the board. In 2021, that was the least they've had in the last 5 years at 23.5 cars per race. 26 per race in 2022, 24.4 in 2023. Last year, it was 26.8, which is the most they've ever had in the last 5 years. And in 2025, it's at 25.9. And so, obviously that can go up, could go down. Will it get close to 26.8? I don't really think so, but we'll have to wait and see what the number comes out to be later on at the end of the season. Now, the full-time drivers. This is very interesting because 2021, look at this. It's all red numbers, 21, 11, 85, 23.5. But that was the year they had the most full-time drivers with the series at 6. Then it was 5, 5, 5. And this year, only 3 guys have ran every single race. Now, I'm a little bit confused because on the website from SprintCarRatings.com, they've ran 24 races so far, and there's a couple of guys that have 23. I don't know if they missed the show. I'm not sure if that's counting those guys in there or if they just were not there. But as of right now, 3 guys have made every single main event. And so maybe it's more. It's just a little bit confusing on the website if they have been to every race and just missed the show. I don't know. But 3, I think you want to have that backup 6, 7, 8 guys running the series full time. As far as the overall purse money that's been paid out throughout the years, it has been a steady increase since 2021. $439,000 paid out that year, $656,000 in 2022, $645,000 in 2023. Last year it was $722,000, and with 4 races remaining, they've already paid out $858,000 in 2025. So that is good. I mean, that is hard to deny. That's a lot of money for a 28-race season. And like I said, there's still 4 races to go. That's going to get well over $900,000 that's paid out throughout the season with NARC sprint cars this year. So there are some good things. There's some things that need to be worked on, I think. And one thing that I want to mention here was the number of races. Is 28 too many, or is 21 too less? Maybe there's a little sweet spot in there. that is the right amount of travel, not a ton of races, especially when you've got High Limit going out there, you've got the Outlaws going out there, they've got a lot of other 360 races as well. Maybe somewhere in the middle, like 23 races, 22 races. Maybe that's the right sweet spot to try and get more of these drivers to go full-time with the series. I mean, there's no reason that Shane Golombek, Dominic Scelzi, Dominic Gordon, Caleb Montgomery, Tim Kading. We know DJ Neto, he's ran every race this year. He's the points leader. Get the X1 with Chance Grasty. The 21 of Jesse Schlotfeld, he is traveling more this year. The 21L Landon Brooks. Those are just some of the guys that you should be trying to target to run the series full time, and maybe tow money to try and get them up to Skagit or whatever it is. I'm not sure. I'm not a promoter, but I think those are some guys that, like, why is Shane Golombek not running NARC full time? Why is Dominic Scelzi not running NARC full time? Those are two guys that are the biggest names in California, and I think that should be one of the priorities from Kevin Rudeen and Brad Sweet, is to try and entice those guys to run the series full time, because once you have those two big names, people are going to want to come out and watch those guys try to perform and try to win races. And then you've got some young guys like Brooks and Schlotfeld and Dominic Gordon and maybe a Max Mitri. He's been exciting this year. That you got to have those names, right, to try and entice people to come out to the racetrack. And so that should maybe be a thing that they are trying to target. And I think that's going to be what they're doing. I mean, I think that Kevin Rudeen has a very good group of people behind him, with Blake Anderson, and got Caleb Hart up there that does a lot at Skagit Speedway, John Hager, all those guys. They're going to be doing everything they can to make this series a big success for 2026 and beyond. I cannot wait to see what they do. I think it's going to be a huge thing for NARC. Is it going to be sweeping changes and changing everything all at once? I don't think so, but even just small things would help right now, I think, with NARC. And I am very excited to see what will take place here, because everything that Brad Sweet and Kevin Rudeen seem to touch, it turns to gold. High Limit Racing has been a huge success in a very short amount of time. Skagit Speedway, a huge success here. Kevin Rudeen took that over in 2022. And of course, Silver Dollar Speedway, the Gold Cup Race of Champions, was an absolute hit this year with the fans. I mean, there was a ton of people there, and it seems like the weekly crowds have been good there as well. So, yeah, I can't say enough good things about Sweet and Rudeen, and I think it's a great pairing of guys to have running this series for the foreseeable future. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Would love to hear everything you have to say. Also, hit like, hit subscribe, and we'll be back tomorrow here on the Rodman Rundown to talk more sprint car racing.